Wh- Well, good Tuesday evening, South Carolina Weather Watchers. I'm your meteorologist, Jesse Peterson, and let's go in and talk about the weather for your Tuesday evening going into your future. And we have a whole storyline to talk about for tonight in terms of our weather for the future. Starting off by what's clearly on the screen right now that you can clearly see, a slow moving front could bring several days of storms, flash flooding, severe weather, all of that is possible as we move throughout the next 3 to 7 days, if not maybe even longer, if not even closer than that. And we were going to go over all of it. We're going to go over all of it. We're going to go over all the models. We're going to talk about the ensembles. We're going to talk about totals because flash flooding is on the way and drought relief is also on the way. I don't think a lot of people are really talking about it as much, as some people should be. But one thing that I do think is that a good amount of relief for the drought is definitely on the way. Now, what's on tap as we go over into tonight? We're still going to be talking about the dense smoke from the Horse Island wildfire affecting northeastern Berkeley County tonight going into tomorrow. We're going to continue to talk about the heat with highs in the mid 90s and heat indices 100 to 105 degrees through midweek. Isolated to scattered showers and storms possible Tuesday and Wednesday, and then a slow moving cold front will bring widespread showers and storms Thursday into the weekend with flash flooding and severe storms. All of that we're going to go in and talk about. If you have not hit the like button yet or the subscribe button yet, please go in and do so. Right now, we've had around a good 11 people tune in tonight, and we only have 5 likes. If you're a part of that group that have not hit the like button yet, go on and do so. So, starting off, what is currently going on right now as we move in the state of South Carolina? Well, we do have some rain showers towards our west, maybe some thunderstorms going on as well. Rather it be over there near Greenwood, near Saluda, also over there near Iva and due west. But look down here in the low country, look in the southern Midlands, Bamberg getting in on some storms right now, maybe even over here near Furman, Scotia. Moving towards Gillisonville, we have some rain showers, some thunderstorms moving towards that way as well. Another thing is we have a special weather statement over there inside of Pooler, Georgia, just to the west of Savannah, that's moving its way up towards the north and east. That could potentially make its way into South Carolina in a moment. But what's going on in terms of the entire U.S.? Well, overall, just a lot of things. A lot of things are going on right now. Starting off over here in the east, we have severe weather going on from New York down to Pennsylvania, even in Virginia, West Virginia, Kentucky, even seeing some flooding going on in these areas. And then there is a tornado watch over here right just to the east of Philadelphia, where we talk about, which we will talk about that in a moment. But New Jersey has a tornado watch right now for like the next hour or so, so not too long left for them. And then obviously another big thing, Tropical Storm Bertha is still here, expected to bring tropical storm force conditions for a lot of the Gulf Coast, from over near Mobile to over near Gulfport, even New Orleans. Even New Orleans will be receiving tropical storm force conditions as you move into the next day or so. Now, as we look over here towards the west, we have some more severe storms, or some more storms just really in general going on. And then even some flash flooding as well going on over near Wyoming, Utah, Colorado, Arizona, and over towards Nevada. Now, now, as we go in and take a look towards our cloud cover, we do have some cloud cover obviously over in the upstate, over in the Midland, PD areas, the low country. I mean, cloud cover activity is going on right now as we speak. But if we go in and take a look at that cloud cover for the future, we push this forward into tonight, going over into tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning comes along, we're actually pretty cloudy for almost the entire state. We move into tomorrow afternoon, going into tomorrow evening. Cloud cover again, trying to push its way down towards the south and east away, but there is still another layer of cloud cover that moves in going into Thursday morning, and then as we go into Thursday afternoon, again, more cloud cover activity just remains with us. And so, one thing that I am watching for is around on Wednesday afternoon, is this the cold front right here that's trying to move through? Well, if we want to take a look at the dew points real quick, seems like right now that it's not the cold front, trying to move its way through yet. So that batch of clouds kind of trying to move out, but then another batch kind of moves its way in as we move into Wednesday. Probably not the cold front, but could be, cold front moving through later on. Now, in terms of current temperatures right now, we're talking about 85 in Somerville, 85 in Charleston, even 86 in Beaufort, 90 Orangeburg, even 84 in Georgetown, 84 in Myrtle Beach, and 85 in Conway, 90 Florence, and 92 in Hartsville, 90 inside of Lancaster, even 89 in York and Rock Hill, 86 in Greenville, 87 in Clemson, and even 87 in Anderson. Now, in terms of our air quality for tonight, we look pretty good for a good amount of us, but I think that a lot of us are still inside of that moderate category. Rather, if you're in the PD areas, to the Grand Strand, to the Low Country, to the Southern Midlands, even up there near Spartanburg, you have a moderate risk of air quality for tonight. What does that mean? Not too good, but not too bad either. Especially if you're over there in the Berkeley County areas, make sure that you are especially paying attention due to the wildfire in the northern areas of Berkeley County right now near Schuylerville. Now, in terms of low temperatures for tonight, you're talking about 76 in Greenville, also Spartanburg, 77, Rock Hill, 77 in Columbia, Orangeburg, even 78 in Kingstree, 80 in Georgetown, even 81 in Myrtle Beach, 84 in Charleston, and 83 in Hilton Head Island, 75 in Aiken and Barnwell, and even 75 up there near Greenwood. Now, as we go on and take a look, clear this out the way, going to move into your high temperatures for tomorrow. Looks like you're around 90 in Greenville, Spartanburg, even 96 in Columbia, 95 Orangeburg and Moncks Corner, 90 Charleston, 93 in Georgetown, 91 in Myrtle Beach, and 92 in Hilton Head Island, 95 in Dillon. And then for your heat index values for tomorrow, it does look like that a good amount of us will be again 100 plus, but a couple of us in the upstate may just be in the upper 90s. But look towards the coastal areas, look towards the Grand Strand areas, the Horry County areas, around 105 all the way up to 108 in some spots, if not even more. Rainfall as we move throughout the next 24 hours looks like around a good 100th of an inch to a 10th of an inch in areas of the upstate, Midlands, and a little bit of that coastal Low Country and Grand Strand area, Georgetown being a part, Charleston, Sumter, Rock Hill, Greenville, Spartanburg, Lawrence, Greenwood. And then some of us may even see a 10th of an inch to a quarter of an inch like Orangeburg, and some of us may even see a quarter of an inch to a half an inch of rainfall over the next 24 hours. Now for the SPC outlook, as we go into tonight, we still have that marginal risk of severe weather up there inside of the upstate. Reason why we have it is isolated damaging winds of up to 60 miles per hour is the main risk. Again, as we go into tonight. Now, we'll see, what the models have to say, if the models think that the official threat is over. But for right now, that marginal risk is still there, so we're still going to respect it, and we're still going to say, if you're up there in Greenville, Spartanburg, Rock Hill, watch out for storms with damaging winds of up to 60 miles per hour. Now tomorrow, again, a marginal risk of severe weather up there from Greenville over into Spartanburg, Rock Hill, included in there, also over near Pageland and Bennettsville, to where there is again a marginal risk for damaging winds. Damaging winds of up to 60 miles per hour. Possible, once again, isolated damaging winds of up to 60 miles per hour possible going into Wednesday. And one thing that I just want to note is Wednesday, if you remember, Wednesday was supposed to be the big day. I mean, we saw a slight risk all the way down over into portions of the northern PD, maybe even the eastern Midlands, got a piece of that slight risk. Look at what it downtrended to, all the way down to a marginal risk of severe weather. So that's why we always, keep an eye, we keep on updating, and we keep on taking a look at the models, because models shift, things are going to change, and now we have less confidence in a severe weather system on Wednesday when there was a pretty good confidence level on it going into, day 6 or so? So 6 days out. This was the day 4 outlook on Sunday, I believe. So this was Sunday's outlook for Wednesday, and look at how much of the slight risk hitting, how much of like the PD, how much of the Midlands, even the upstate, was included in this risk. There was a lot of areas that was included. Now look at it now. And then on day 3, Thursday, no severe weather is expected, but thunderstorms again are still possible statewide. Also, if you're not inside the dark green areas, if you're in the light green, you also have a risk of thunderstorms. They may not be severe, but they could definitely be strong. Now for excessive rainfall, going over into tonight. Right now, it does look like that we have nothing for tonight in terms of excessive rainfall, but tomorrow it all starts. Tomorrow going into Wednesday. That is one thing about Wednesday that's definitely not, that definitely did not downtrend. It was the flash flooding threat. Flash flooding, scattered flash flooding, up to a 15% risk of flash flooding. Up there for the upstate, going on into the Midlands, and then even over there in the PD areas as well. Now, if you go in the southern Midlands, you go in the eastern Low Country, and you also go into the PD and the Grand Strand, or the eastern PD and Grand Strand areas, you have a 5% risk of flash flooding. Even a good amount of the CSRA is also included in there for a 5% risk of flash flooding as you move throughout the next 24 hours or so, honestly, going into tomorrow. Maybe even 36 hours or so. So if you're in that area, any of these areas that are shaded, especially the yellow, make sure you're watching out for tomorrow. And then it shifts. Watch as we go into day 3. This is on Thursday. This is on Thursday right here. Thursday, we have an even bigger risk of flash flooding. Again, you see it all the way from Greenville, all the way down through the Midlands, down throughout the Low Country, all the PD, all the Grand Strand areas, all is included in that risk of scattered flash flooding for Thursday. And again, if you're in that green area, Walhalla is included in there, Beaufort, Hilton Head Island is included in there. You have a 5% risk of flash flooding on Thursday. Friday comes along, and again, eastern areas of the state, maybe a little bit of the central parts of the state, scattered flash flooding is possible. If you're in the green, that's almost all the Low Country, almost actually the entire upstate. Pretty much everybody else except for down here near Hilton Head Island and Bluffton, you have a 5% risk going into Friday. And then Saturday comes along, and guess what? We still are not done. Saturday comes along, and we have another 15% risk of flash flooding over here in the eastern parts in the yellow, and everybody else in the green, 5% risk. So severe weather, may have downtrended, but one thing that definitely did not downtrend is the flash flooding. Flash flooding will still be an area of concern, and I think that it should be a pretty big area of concern for us, because just if we go on and take a look at the models, which I know we're going to look at it, a bit earlier than we may usually look at it, but if we go on and take a look at the official forecast from the National Weather Service, from the Weather Prediction Center here, one thing that they do show, which let me go to the models, it says that we're around maybe over the next 120 hours, because this goes into Sunday at 8 o'clock p.m. You can see, around 3 inches of rainfall up here inside of, Greenville, maybe even close to 4 inches of rain near Gaffney, Rock Hill, 2 inches of rainfall near Florence, maybe even 1.5 inches over there inside of the Myrtle Beach area, 1 inch of rainfall near Charleston, and a couple of other areas that could receive 1 inch plus. Now, remember, this is the Weather Prediction Center, and usually they don't really go on the higher end like that. But one thing that we can also go in and look at is the ensembles as well. This is the GEFS. The GEFS, as we move into the next 5 days or so, doesn't really have too much. It shows maybe 1.5 inches, close to around 2 inches of rainfall as we move throughout the next, couple of days or so. And then the European kind of has it flipped a little bit. You see how the GEFS kind of has it on the west and the eastern side. The European kind of has it on the northern side, around 2 to maybe even 3 inches of rainfall up here in the northern areas, and the southern areas around 1 inch of rainfall. So, does that mean everybody's guaranteed going to see 1 inch of rainfall or more? No, it doesn't necessarily mean that. But what it does mean is that we definitely need to continue to watch for these rain totals, because they definitely could get a bit higher. Now, in terms of the crazy score, right now we're at a 14. If you have no idea what the crazy score is, it is a score that we see how active our conditions are throughout the entire state of South Carolina. And right now we're at a 14. We're at a 10 for the conditions, and we're at a 4 for the alerts. We have that dense smoke advisory still going on over there inside of Berkeley County, so that's going to add up a little bit on that. And then for the conditions in general, we still have some places that are cloudy, like over there near Charleston, near Aiken. It's cloudy as well. And then also, it's still pretty warm for a good amount of areas. We saw some areas still in the 90s, and it's also a bit breezy as well. So we're seeing a good amount of areas kind of just keeping their almost daytime conditions as we move into like 8 p.m. or so. So let's go in now and take a look at the models. Time is at the bottom part of your screen. Please make sure that you go in and pay attention to that, as that is very important to do so. We're going to start off here at 8 p.m. And as we push this forward right here, going all the way to 9 p.m., moving all the way over into tonight, look at 12 a.m. Look in the low country. We're seeing some shower activity. Seeing some shower activity. Goes away pretty quickly. But my next area of interest points up there inside of the upstate. Now we're looking at around 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Now we're looking at some light drizzle moving throughout the upstate. Now we're seeing it move throughout the Midlands. And then as we go over into the low country coastal areas at around 8 o'clock in the morning or so, we could have some more shower activity moving through. And I'm also looking again at the upstate, kind of looking at a dual threat right there of some shower activity going on. Now, as you go over to around 10 o'clock in the morning or so, we're seeing some more shower activity in the low country, some more shower activity inside of the Grand Strand areas once again. And as you move to around 3 p.m. on Wednesday, moving all the way even to around 5 p.m., more rainfall activity moves in from west over towards the eastern sides of the state. And then we start watching up there around 7, 8 p.m., maybe even a bit earlier than that. Watch this thunderstorm activity that we see up there inside of the upstate. Watch this thunderstorm activity that can continue to push its way east as we move to around 10 p.m. That's a pretty good line of shower and storm activity that tries to get going at around 10 o'clock p.m. Again, 10 p.m. So that's a late night threat right there. And this is Wednesday's threat in general. Remember, we go into tomorrow night. Marginal risk of severe weather, isolated damaging winds of up to 60 miles per hour is possible. You're kind of already seeing that on the models as you move to around 10 p.m. or so, going into Wednesday night. Even as you go into the morning on Thursday, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., we're seeing some showers and some storms going on up there in the upstate. And then even by 6 a.m., moving to 9 a.m., you're still seeing shower and heavy downpour activity. Now, as you move over into the afternoon, that shower and storm activity starts to finally move its way over. But Thursday, there is no severe threat. Thursday, there is no severe threat for any sort of severe weather. Now, could that change? Could that really change? If we go on and take a look at the CAPE levels right now, CAPE is the convective available potential energy, just how much fuel for a thunderstorm. And you have some CAPE levels that are up there, and even the models are saying marginal severe as a possible hazard here. So, I think that a marginal risk of severe weather definitely could be added for Thursday. I definitely do think that it could, and I would not be surprised one bit. Now, it would probably be again for those upstate areas, maybe going into the Midlands a little bit, but for right now, there's nothing there for Thursday in terms of any sort of severe weather. So, what's going on in terms of our long-term future? So, past Thursday, we're going to move over into Thursday night, going into Friday, and one thing that you do see automatically is a lot of rainfall. This is our risk of excessive rainfall stacking on each other as we go through Friday, as we go through Saturday, and then Sunday things finally try and calm down as we go into Sunday morning. Sunday afternoon, though, we could still see some more rainfall activity. And then as we move into next week again shows maybe some promise, but still some storm activity as we move into like midweek going later on. Now as we move over into Saturday this is August around the 2nd here, or August the 1st actually, we move past that weekend, even going into the weekend or the week after that, we're still seeing some more shower and storm activity. So shower and storm activity just in general continues to stay for us. And so again, if you were asking, what's causing all this flooding that goes on, that's going to happen as we move into the next couple of days going to the weekend, it is because of a stalled cold front. Stalled cold front will make its way over into the state and will sit over the state of South Carolina. That will cause a multitude of, just shower and storm activity that kind of just balance its way out over the state. So that's what we're looking at in terms of the cause for all of this rainfall in general. Now, how much rainfall even is the GFS saying as we move throughout the next, a week or so, maybe half a week or so? Well, overall, it's saying possibly around a good, 3/10 in some spots, and then you see spots around like 5 to 6 inches of rainfall. That's just how the deterministic does. The deterministic is not, a mean of members put together. It's not an average. It's just honestly, it's just one model, one member and it makes its own output. And so that's why you see some areas like just in like a dead spot like Columbia at around 3/10 of an inch, and then areas around like what is this over near Orangeburg around 4 inches of rainfall. Now, the real actual the real thing about it though is that this could be a real scenario. I mean, I'm not saying that it is going to happen, but this could be a real scenario to where, somebody may get increasingly snubbed in terms of rainfall, especially for areas that need it. Somebody may not see a good amount of rainfall. Like, look at southern Georgia, for example, just like a teaching moment. Look how much rainfall they're expected to see in some spots. Some areas may not even see a drop of rainfall as you move into areas of southern Georgia as you move into like the next 100 or so hours. So, honestly, that's just what could happen. That's just honestly what could happen. I mean, and honestly, we can't really do anything about it. But that's just what the deterministic says for right now. Now, what does the ensemble say for around the next 384 hours? Well, overall, the GEFS has us around maybe 2.5 to maybe even close to 4 inches of rainfall over the next 380 hours or so, maybe even up to 4 inches of rainfall. And then as we go on and move on towards the European kind of has us around 2.5 inches of rainfall, maybe even up to around 4 inches, if not even a bit higher than that as well. So both ensembles over like the next 300 plus hours or so, kind of on the same track, but they definitely have the totals for each location in different spots. But overall, on a average scale for how much rainfall they're expecting for like the state, not really too far off of each other. Now, how much? Now in terms of temperatures, now because moving off of rainfall, we're gonna talk about the temperatures because obviously with the cold front does come cooler temperatures. Now, as we go on and start this off Tuesday afternoon here, going all the way into Tuesday night, going all the way into Wednesday. Things are still warm, but you can tell as we move into Thursday that cooler air does move its way down. And as we get all the way over into Thursday night, going into Friday, watch Friday afternoon, 2 p.m., 10 to 15 degrees below average in some spots, but you still see some spots like in the low country that's still trying to remain above average just a little bit in terms of temperatures. Now, you got to remember this is a long-term model, so it's not going to be the most detailed. And honestly, if you do see some pockets like this, that could definitely change. But for right now, most of the state is seeing cooler than average temperatures as we move into Friday, even Saturday. I mean, Saturday we're seeing widespread 10 to 15 degree below average temperatures. And then as we go even into Sunday, things finally start to warm back up a little bit. And then Monday, things increasingly get up 10 to 15 degrees above average as we move into Monday. Tuesday, we're around 16 to 20 degrees above average as we go into Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, even as well. So we're continuing to stay above average, it seems like, in terms of temperatures as we go into next week. So it seems like as we move into the end parts of the week, we're going to cool down. Next week, things are going to get back up and active again. But cooler temperatures definitely could happen, further on in the future. Now, how much in terms of our actual temperatures are we actually going to see here? Well, as we go into Wednesday, tomorrow, we know those high temperatures are looking. We go into Thursday, finally, those temperatures start to drop a little bit. But Friday, we're around the higher 70s, the lower 80s. But you have a couple of spots, according to the GFS, for some reason that wants to be around 99, like in the low country. I don't know why this is happening. But, I mean, you can see that there's just this one random pocket in the low country that's like 99 degrees while everybody else is having fun in the 80s and the 70s. Will that happen? If that happens, that would be actually pretty comical. But I think that, that'll probably straighten itself out and smooth itself out as we get later on into the future. Now, as you go over into Saturday, going over into Sunday again, warming up, and then as we move into Monday, we're back to seeing 100 plus degree temperatures there. Now, as we go into our heat index values as well, heat index values will continue their way up into the hundreds. Same thing as we go into Thursday a little bit, but overall, again, just that one random spot that kind of just continues to have us near like 100 degrees or so in terms of heat index values. And then as we move into next week, we're back up to 105, maybe even close to 110 plus in terms of those heat index values as we move into Tuesday and even going into Wednesday of next week. So extreme heat is coming back. That's definitely not going to be an area of doubt in terms of my opinion. I think that extreme heat definitely is coming back. When And, how strong is it going to be? Let's wait just a little bit longer because obviously, we're getting close to 200 hours out here. But I think that extreme heat for sure is coming back. Now, as we move over into Thursday, going over into Friday of next week, and then we go into the weekend after. I mean, it looks like our temperatures are kind of just trying to stay in the 90s, mainly the lower 90s. But I see as we move further on into like August, it seems to try and want to warm up a little bit as we go into like the August the 5th here, maybe even going to August the 6th. So we definitely are seeing a bit of a warm up as we go more into August, according to the GEFS. So, again, that's another thing to go in and watch for. A bunch of things to watch for as we go into today's forecast. And then another thing to go in and watch for, if you weren't already stressed enough already, Tropical Storm Bertha. Maybe not for South Carolina, but maybe if you have family, friends over there in Louisiana, over there in southern Alabama, or Mobile, Mobile's in Alabama, or Mississippi, going on into Texas. If you know anybody in these areas, maybe even the portions of Florida, I think that they are about to kind of just stop receiving their events kind of soon. But tropical storm conditions are expected to spread westward along portions of the northern Gulf Coast from the Florida Panhandle west to southeastern Louisiana, including the metro New Orleans area, through Wednesday night. Tropical storm conditions are possible for portions of the southwestern coast of Louisiana Wednesday night and Thursday. A coastal flood warning is in effect for Mississippi and Louisiana coastlines where moderate coastal flooding is expected. Interests elsewhere in extreme western Louisiana and the upper Texas coast should monitor the progress of the system as additional watches or warnings could be required for portions of that area. Isolated areas of flooding will also be possible through Thursday along the Gulf Coast from the western Florida Panhandle into southern Louisiana. So here's the track right now. This is what it looks like. Currently, it is a 60-mile-per-hour storm. Again, a 60-mile-per-hour storm. And it's moving west at around 6 miles per hour. Moving west at 6 miles per hour. This is currently what Tropical Storm Bertha does look like right now. Again, you can see it's moving its way west, moving away from Florida, moving towards Louisiana. Again, if you know anybody in the Louisiana areas, especially the New Orleans area, let them know. Severe weather definitely, or not severe weather, but a hurricane, which, some may say is severe weather, is coming towards them. Tropical storm force winds over there. Now, if you go on and take a look at the models, again, no models are saying anything for South Carolina, so we're good. But most of them are just continuing its way west. The real question is just where it's going to go when it gets into Texas, because that's where models are kind of disagreeing a bit on there. But overall, they have a pretty strong consensus that it's going to continue west, kind of just stay over water a little bit, at least most are saying that, and then continue its way into Texas. And then the GFS ensembles, again, kind of has a bit more of a northern trajectory there, kind of has it going into Louisiana and then actually curving into western Louisiana there. And then the European kind of has it around, again, kind of going west over into Texas and then kind of curving its way up towards the east. And you may be asking, well, why in the world are these, members kind of, curving their way over towards the east? And from the GFS to all the way towards the European, why are they curving east a little bit? And why are some not? Well, most of them honestly seem to be curving east, obviously just due to the stalled front that's there. It's going to kind of attract its way up. And so that front could go on and kind of distract it and try to go in and destruct it just a little bit. That may cause it to go more towards the north. But you still have a couple that say that the front's not really going to do too much to it, and it's going to continue and cause almost hurricane force conditions over in Texas. So models, once you get around 48 to 72 hours out, are still way out of whack. And even in terms of intensity, I think this morning the hurricane models weren't really saying anything in terms of, hurricane force condition, or maybe it was last night. I believe it was last night. They weren't really saying too much in terms of hurricane force conditions. Now you're starting to see some more confidence for some hurricane force conditions. I know it's only one model, but the one is more than zero. But that's pretty much all I have to say here for Tropical Storm Bertha. I mean, make sure also that you let people know about coastal flooding, rip currents as well. Rip currents is also going to be a bit of a big area of concern as you go into tonight, also as you go into tomorrow. Also, South Carolina has their own risk of rip currents as well. Storm surge as well. Also going to be a bit of a problem all the way from the Scylla River in Florida all the way over into Cameron, Louisiana. 1 to 4 feet of storm surge is possible for a lot of these areas. And then as you move over into the rainfall potential, even into probably just the rainfall potential over here, you're seeing around 1 to 4 inches of rainfall in parts of Louisiana. So that's all I have to say there. Again, if you know anybody in those areas, let them know. We did have an earthquake today. There was an earthquake today inside of South Carolina, and it was over here near Pacolet Mills. I hope I said that correctly. If I did not, somebody please correct me. But it was 9 kilometers northeast of Pacolet Mills in South Carolina. That's just to the north of Jonesville, just to the east of Spartanburg, and the south of Gaffney there in Cherokee County there. It was a 1.4, very weak, probably barely even noticeable, so nothing really to worry about there. But that's just your daily reminder to just make sure that you are, being aware of earthquakes, as they can happen at any time, and we cannot predict when they are going to happen. So that's just your reminder there. So let's go on now and talk with the audience. Before we go on and talk with the audience, because I know some people don't really care too much for this point. Number one, my apologies for not being here this morning. My phone decided to just go on and power off last night by itself, so my alarm did not go off, and when I checked the time when I woke up, I had 15 minutes to leave, till I had to leave, so did not have time to record a forecast this morning, so that was my fault there from technical difficulties. And then also, number two, it does seem like we have around a good 36 people that have tuned in tonight. If you're a part of that group of 9, or 36 people have tuned in and only 9 likes, so if you're a part of that group of 27 that have not hit the like button yet, please go on and do so, as it's free, it's free, it's free. And then, that's all I had to say there. So what's going on in terms of the audience right now? If you want to be a part of the audience, you can by joining us here at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, and being a subscriber, because if you're not a subscriber, you can't type. So starting off with my Aunt Lula, who says first, good evening everyone, good evening to you. Hopefully everyone had a blessed day. Today's high in Georgetown was 92. Currently it's 84. In Georgetown, it was a little hit or miss shower. The weather was all right, not too bad. Sorry I missed you last night. Slipped my mind of the time change, but that's no problem at all. My Nana says, hello, Jay, and all. Hello to you. Another warm but nice day. Soaked up some sun rays. Well, I'm glad that you were able to go in and do that. Trail says, greetings, everyone. Greetings to you. My cousin Cheryl says, good evening, Weatherman. Good evening, everyone. We had a little bit of rain in Philly today, but all is good. Love you, Weatherman. Do your thing. Be blessed, everyone on purpose. Well, thank you so much for that. And thank you so much for being here for tonight. And then Mr. Anthony says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you as well. And that's all that I can see here in terms of the chat for tonight. So have a top fan question of the night for tonight. A top fan question of the night for tonight. And honestly, for when we, okay, I was gonna do something from the tropics, but I think that'd be a bit too easy. That'd be a bit too easy. So we're gonna go on and check and see. I was talking about a day for when we were talking about the severe weather portion, and I said that there was a day that I thought that there could be a possibility that they could add a risk of severe weather. What day was it? What day was it that I specifically said that I could see the Storm Prediction Center going on and adding a risk of severe weather? If you know what day that is, again, just a day like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday, doesn't matter. If you can answer it first, I will go on and give you top fan of the night for tonight. Again, you have a bunch of options. All you have to do is just name a day. You have a 1 out of 7 chance of getting it correct. So just go in and put down a day. If everyone just goes on and puts one day down in the chat, somebody, you have a 1 out of 7 chance to get it correct. So while we go on and check that out in just a moment, we have 3 areas to talk about. You might be asking, 3 areas, what am I talking about? I'm talking about Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as well as Duncan, Oklahoma. The reason why we talk about these 3 areas is because we have people from these areas who tune in almost nightly, and because they tune in almost nightly, we're going to give them their forecast for them. Like, for example, my cousin Cheryl here tonight from Philadelphia, and then also saw somebody else from Philadelphia last night as well. So we're going to start off with Raleigh first. You have low temperatures tonight at 77, high temperatures for tomorrow at 93, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at around 69. Slight chance of thunderstorms there tomorrow. There also is another chance of thunderstorm activity, and then tomorrow night showers are likely. Now, in terms of your future, honestly, rainfall just continuing to be active for you. I mean, even if you move all the way through into Saturday, you're still going to be seeing that chance of rainfall of up to like an 80% chance of rainfall every single day. Now, Sunday and Monday, you do get a break, but as you get into Monday night going into Tuesday, that rainfall chance again goes up. And then temperature wise, you're actually going to, cool down a lot. You go into Thursday, 77 being your high, Friday, 80. And then even as you move into like the weekend, you're going to be in the 80s. But don't worry, Monday going on to Tuesday of next week, you're back up into the 90s. Now, in terms of severe weather and excessive rainfall, it does look like that you are continuing to have that risk of severe weather as you move over into tonight. You have a marginal risk, about to be a slight risk at this point. In fact, it is a slight risk of severe weather for tonight. For damaging winds of up to 60 miles per hour, you have a 15% risk of damaging winds. And then as you go into Wednesday, you have a 15% risk of damaging winds there and a 2% chance of tornadoes. So that's something new to watch for. A 2% chance of tornadoes for tomorrow. No fire weather or anything like that. And then excessive rainfall wise, it does look like that you are not in the clear. You go over into tonight, nothing really. But as you go into tomorrow, scattered flash flooding, 15% risk. Same thing on Thursday. Friday, you have a 5%, and then on Saturday, you have another 5% risk of severe weather. Of excessive rainfall, excuse me. So you have a lot to watch for, from severe weather to just a bunch of flash flood risk. It just continues to stay active for you. Now, if we have any answers, I see one Wednesday. Wednesday's not the correct answer. Wednesday's not the correct answer. So now you have a 1 in 6 chance of getting it correct tonight. But now let's go in and talk about Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, probably the more active location. For right now, you have low temperatures tonight, 71. High temperatures for tomorrow, 85. And then low temperatures tomorrow night at 65. Severe thunderstorms. Severe thunderstorms are expected for tonight, tomorrow, chance of showers tomorrow and tomorrow night as well. Now, you do have a tornado watch over to your, over towards your east, but to your west, you have some more shower and storm activity there. In fact, there is a storm chance for you, even as you move over into around 10 p.m. going all the way to like 4 o'clock in the morning. So you definitely do have a risk of thunderstorm activity tonight. Now, in terms of your risk, 45% risk of damaging winds. That's almost a 50-50 shot. You have a 5% risk of tornadoes and a 15% risk of damaging winds, or damaging hail, excuse me. So all hazards are applicable for you tonight. And then in terms of flash flooding, a 15% risk there. So again, all risk of excessive rainfall and all risk of severe weather is there for you. Now, in terms of your future, it does look like that you will go on and continue. You'll go on and continue to kind of just stay into the 80s even as you move into the weekend. But as you get over into next week, you're still trying to stay into the 80s. You will have a bit of a dry patch Thursday going into Sunday as well. But after Sunday of next week, get back up into the rain chances all the way up into the 50% range on Monday. And then for Duncan, the final location, low temperatures tonight at 78. High temperatures for tomorrow at 100. And then low temperatures tomorrow night at 75. No precipitation except for Friday night. Friday night, a 20% chance of shower and thunderstorm activity, mainly after 1 o'clock in the morning. So, going to continue to stay hot. No risk of severe weather. No risk of excessive rainfall. You're continuing just to stay good and just not in any sort of bad severe weather like all of these other locations. And that's all that I have to say here for tonight. So let's see, what do we have here inside of the chat? Thursday, Friday. Yep, Thursday is the correct answer. So congratulations to my Aunt Lula for winning it again for tonight, which I was going to say for the past couple of days you've been getting it correct, but I don't think you were here last night, so just back to just your first day here. So congratulations to you for going on and winning the top fan of the night for tonight. Again, if you want to win Top Fan, you can by joining us here at 9 o'clock, or, oh my goodness, not 9 o'clock p.m., 8 o'clock p.m. I've just been so used to saying 9 o'clock p.m. I guess it's kind of just stuck in my brain now. I can say it just like clockwork. But 8 o'clock p.m. now. Also, you have to be a subscriber. And then also, you have to be here early because I can ask anything from the beginning of the stream all the way to the end of the stream. Or just for whenever we reveal the answer and I ask the question. Also, it could be something as simple as who was here first or whoever sent in a photo at scweather360.com, because you never know when I could pull something from that. So, may want to also send in some pictures as well if you want to. But that's pretty much all I have to say here for tonight. Remember, tune in tomorrow morning. Hopefully, if everything goes to plan, hopefully for your Wednesday morning forecast update, and then tomorrow evening, 8 o'clock p.m. same time for your Wednesday evening forecast update. Make sure that you're there for that, and I will be back. Make sure you go and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the share button. We're at 779 subscribers, trying to get to that main goal of 821 subscribers away. That's it. 21 subscribers away from that main goal of 800. Go on and share. It's free, and sharing is caring, as always. Hit those two buttons before you leave if you're new.